We talked about you making your first meal
Yes.
at 25.
At 25.
How, when, how did you feel? Did you anticipate it or was it a shock?
So when me and my business partner connected, he's in Australia, okay? This man. I never met him.
Have you met him?
No, we've never met in person.
I love that. No, but it's like the power of this world is crazy.
Yeah.
Like the digital pen pals that you can create, online besties, but also working with someone halfway across the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people always, I think like when they hear that story, they're like, because this is what happened. I was posting consistently on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he found me through YouTube and he reached out and he said, hey, I want to go into a partnership where it's just a profit split. And, you know, we'll do this course. I have an idea for a course. And when he said that, I was like, oh, I already recorded that course. I've just been sitting on it. I've had this course ready to go. And so I'm like, we can do that for sure. And so he was ready to go. Like he was ready to invest. And that was it. Like he did the ads and I was in charge of the courses and running all of that comes with running a course.
Yeah.
And we stayed in our lane and that's what it was.
Okay.
And so
I'm getting like on the edge of my seat with
oh,
this
it was
story.
exciting. It was great.
Because it sounds like the shoe's about to drop.
Yeah. And so when we started things, we started in January of 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, this all happened so fast.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the timeline because
Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
Happened real fast. And so when we started, I told him, I was like, well, I want to take home $1 million. Okay? So how are we going to do this? And so he was like, oh, I think by the fourth quarter of the year, we'll be doing $500,000. What did he say? Something like that, like $500,000 a month or something crazy.
Okay.
And I was like, is he sure? Girl, he was sure. Okay. So by April of that year, we were already doing $250,000 in sales a month.
Stop.
Yeah. And we had just launched the course at the very end of January. I think it was like January 29th. The course was called Beauty Boss. And I was teaching people how to start their own beauty brand because in a past life, I used to also have a beauty brand.
We love like the whole you've lived multiple lives energy.
I'm the queen of reinventing myself, okay?
And that was going to be the next pivot, but continue.
Yeah.
So beauty brand.
Yes.
And you're teaching other women how to start
their own beauty
brand and then sustain
Yes.
that beauty
the idea
brand.
was, because he told me, he had done research and he was like, really the average person, if they can make an extra $2,000 a month from their brand, they like from, you know, a side hustle or whatever, they'll be happy. That's life-changing for them. And I was like, oh, well, I'd be doing that. I'd be doing more than that with my brand. So yeah, I could teach them that for sure. So he was like, okay, perfect. So that's what the course was about. And so right away we started running these ads on YouTube and I was already showing up on YouTube. So it just flowed. Yeah. And then boom, like month after month, it's just crazy. Like we were just knocking our goals off the board.
And what was overhead cost?
Since it was just ads. Virtual. It was ads. Yeah. And then on my end, he had told me that he was willing to take on the team, like to like hire and stuff like that. And I said no.
So he's sourcing.
I said no.
Why? Because I feel like your intuition
regret this decision. Yes.
You're into that. As a woman, trust your intuition.
Trust your intuition.
Continue.
Because this is the key. Or this was the thing. When it's a profit split, you're still two different entities. I was still Doni Brown, LLC, and he was still his company. I'm not going to say his name. But because of that, I said, I need to protect myself. I need to build a team of women that is here to protect me and here to push my agenda forward just in case, because I don't know you. You're in Australia. I don't know you.
You can pull anybody.
Yeah.
And build your own team.
Yeah.
And because you have the logistics and operations, which is the true foundation of a brand, you could pose me as just the face.
Yes.
While you really have the entire company. And then just swap me out.
And just swap me out.
And now I blindsided.
Yes. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, yes, I'm the person on camera and all these things, but we've built this formula together. Yeah. And we're sharing ideas. We're sharing all these different things. I'm giving him my essence because as he's writing ads and we keep doing this, I'm like, no, word it like this, say it like this. This is how you connect with women of color. Yep. He's a white man. Yeah. We were about the same age, but still, he's learning how to connect with my audience on a level that most people like him would never be able to connect with us. And so I'm like, I need to protect myself just in case.
Doni, I want you to know the story is so interesting.
I have a very interesting life, okay? Unintentionally.
Like,
I just be here. I just be showing up. Okay.
Y'all told me to clock in, so I'm here.
So I'm here. Okay, that's it. I just showed up.
Y'all told me to log. What they say? Get on your Zoom at 10
I got on my Zoom. I made those YouTube videos, and he reached out, and that's all. That's it.
I love it.
But I always tell people that.
Yeah.
Just really quick as a note, like, don't be afraid to show up. It doesn't matter if 100,000 people or 2 people are subscribed to your channel. At that time, I think I had maybe like 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel when he reached out. I wasn't some huge person on YouTube at the time. Mm-hmm. But he saw the potential. He saw the light. Yeah. He saw the light. Don't just show up. Just show up. You don't know what's going to happen if you just show up. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we were doing crazy. And so that's the thing. He had worked on teams before for courses that had scaled to be multi-million-dollar courses. So he knew how to do it. Mm-hmm. But even though he's seen it, he hadn't necessarily done it himself, neither had I. Yeah. Okay. So when we start running into issues, we're both like, oh, let me call so-and-so and see how to handle this. Yeah. Which is fine. That's a part of figuring life out. And I don't ever regret that experience. Yeah. And that's a part of taking a risk and betting on yourself. And so now moving forward in business, I can move different. I can move better. I can move with more wisdom. You learned the lesson. I learned the lesson, you know? But yeah, that's how that happened, girl. We were doing crazy numbers out the gate. Crazy numbers. And if
250,000 monthly by the 4th month.
Yeah, that's insane. That's unheard of. And so literally by January, our goal was at that point, once we see how things were going, by January
of the next year.
Yeah, of the next year, we were supposed to be doing $1 million a month. That was the plan, because the 4th quarter was going to go crazy. And then we were just going to ride that momentum into the next year, because quarter 1, for anyone that's doing any self-improvement, anything around that, or like starting a business or starting something new, quarter 1 is where it's at.
Quarter 1 is where you lay that what? Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Foundation, exactly. So yeah.
Speaking of foundation, thank you for bringing this lovely specimen to the show. For those that are listening, I am currently holding a copy of the Wealthy Woman Journal.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. So if you would like to see it, you literally have to switch to the visuals. Please jump on that YouTube link, subscribe, and clock in, because,
Listen.
No, this was thoroughly thought out. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the top 2 things that came to mind as you were creating this.
One, I'm very action-based. Mm-hmm. So that just comes with me teaching. Like, I'm very big on people taking action and implementing what they're learning. So all of this was more so, how do I take the principles that God gave me and use to develop me and put it in this book, but make it action-based, so it's not just some concepts. Yeah. And that was really it. That was the biggest thing. And then also
making sure things are action-based is so valuable, because I think one of my biggest pet peeves is, for example, attending an event that is supposed to give you actionable steps to get to the other side, i.e. your current state, and get you to your desired state. Yeah. But there was no actionable steps.
Yeah, no takeaways.
No takeaways, just inspo.
Yeah, just stories.
Just stories.
Yeah. That's not me.
That's not you.
Oh, when I used to coach, my tagline was, this is a no fluff zone, okay?
Yeah.
We're not walking away with just some ideas.
Yeah.
We're putting it into action.
We're executing.
Yeah, executing.
There's what? Accountability.
Yeah.
Habit stacking.
Yeah. This is no joke.
If you are someone that makes excuses, don't buy this book. I'm telling you.
You're going to get ate up if you buy the book.
You're what? Coming for your life.
Yeah.
We're not just praying over the finances. There's scriptures
to confess over our finances in our life.
There are scriptures.
Yeah. Yeah. This is not a joke. This is not a game.
No, this is not a drill.
No.
We need everyone in formation.
Yeah, immediately.
No, my prayer for you is that your cup overflows in 2024.
Thank you so much.
Because this book is amazing.
Thank you. My best friend was like, hopefully this gets us out the hood. And I said, shut up, we're not in the hood.
No, the thing is, take me out the what? Take me out the I'm trying to hit the, and tell him it's a wrap. The next question that I have for you, we've spoken a lot about reinvention and how you've reinvented yourself and how you are the queen of making a pivot and making a change.
Yeah.
You have shared that there was a time where you had lost. You had a lot of loss.
Yeah.
And so when you lose, especially financially, and you lose a job or a resource rather, there's a lot that takes on, and there's a lot that goes through your mind mentally in order to make that pivot. So what do you think contributed to you changing your life so quickly after that loss?
This is what I think people need to understand. When it comes to manifesting, the way you get good at it is deciding that you're already the person you need to be in order to have what you want. You can manifest anything right now. And that's what I got good at. I had gotten good at manifesting whatever I wanted as who I was at that time. And so this time, when I started changing my life this time, I realized, I said, oh, I can manifest whatever, but I may not be able to maintain it as that person. And that's what I think people need to learn and realize. And so what I started doing was I started doing the inner work. Of course, I was in therapy consistently.
It happens.
Yeah,
We did it.
Yeah.
We had to do it over here.
We had to.
In order to become the woman that I am today and to have this conversation and be able to dive straight in. We haven't had too many conversations in life. But the fact that we can sit and have these conversations, I feel like it takes a level of emotional intelligence that you have to tap into in order to unlock that for yourself.
Right, so, exactly.
I love that you went to therapy. We promote it over here.
Oh yeah, I went to therapy. God was speaking to me constantly. Okay.
Come on.
And also I think I was just being thoughtful and intentional about making sure that whatever I did before, I'm going to learn from it.
Yep.
A lot of us don't like to sit and even think about what happened or even take on responsibility for the things that happen in our lives. And so I decided consciously, I'm going to take responsibility. And no, that's not me admitting or saying that every single thing that happened is my fault. No, it's not. Ultimately, like, that's just the reality of it. But I can take responsibility for what I contributed and how I handled the situation and how I move forward. And so that's what I did. I really sat and I spent time just really figuring out, okay, God, who are you trying to develop me into so that I can reinvent myself in a better way this time? I think in the past, every time I reinvented myself, it was out of survival or out of me being frustrated with where I was. And so this time, I was frustrated. Oh, this hurt, like, ooh, it hurt, okay? Getting pulled through this. But now that I'm on the other side, I would not trade it for anything, because the woman that I am today, ooh, the woman that I am, girl, like,
they say you learn the most when you're in the, when you're in the valley instead of just at the top of the mountain. And so it's like you have to go down low in order to come up high. I feel like the people that I've met, or even the people I'm inspired by, they have so much depth to their story. They've taken losses, and taking a loss just means that you took a chance. It means that you made a mistake. The real, like, whoa is, what lessons did you learn from your mistakes? Like,
exactly.
If you made a mistake, cool, you're human. But how did you pivot? How did you change? How did you get back on your feet when you felt like you were knocked down so low? So for you to mention that you felt as if you were operating out of survival mode and you almost had to have like a reinvention in your mind of
you don't need to do that, Donnie.
We don't even need to do that.
Because if he is my provider, why are we doing that? That's crazy. That's insane, actually.
No, you took the words out of my mouth. That's insane.
Yeah. And also, too, I do want to add this. I think the biggest thing that people need to understand is it's so important to shift your identity.
Yeah.
And I think for me, every time before, I had been so intentional about shifting my identity, right? And when I say shifting my identity, it's not even about, like, how people in the movies, they'd be like, let me put on a new wig and all this stuff. It's not about that.
No, what's that trend? It's like, my husband has multiple wives.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
It's like the same woman, but she's, Yeah,
exactly. She just has new hair.
Yeah, new hairstyle.
Yeah, new energy. And yes, it's an energy, it's a vibe, but it's like, no, I'm literally going to decide today that I'm going to show up as that person that would have the things that I want to have.
Come on.
And so when all this happened, all the things of, like, just stripping me and pruning me that God was doing in my life, I think that a part of me was lost for a minute. Because I was devastated by everything that had happened, and I had taken on a lot of shame. I was ashamed, and I was blaming myself for a minute.
Doni, get out of my head. No, the thing is, get out of my head, because you are literally sharing, like I feel like I'm speaking to a mirror right now. Ooh. Because I experienced a lot of loss in 2023 that pruned me to become the woman that we now see here today. And I feel like I would not be the woman that I am today if I did not take that loss. Yeah. I would not be the woman that I am today if I did not see the vision through. Yes. So yeah. I feel like I'm looking at a mirror.
Yeah. And so once I finally stopped judging myself, and I just started radically accepting myself. I call it radical because when you let go of judgment and shame, it feels radical. It's something that happens and shifts in you. And like you just started, like, literally you have to force yourself to stop, just observe what's happening to you, observe who you are, and just make space for it. That's all you need to do. So once I started radically self-accepting myself and making space for who I was, I started realizing the person that I had developed that I was when I, built the multi-million-dollar business and all those things, it wasn't bad. That was the thing. I think I went back into...
You associated that person with a bad person because of what came out of it. Yeah.
Yes. And so I started thinking, let me shift my identity again. When in reality, what I had done to get there was good. It was good. And what happened ultimately was not good, but there were a lot of things about that version of myself, especially in the process of building that company. I was still developing. That's what I have to realize. There were things so much that I learned, so many things that I can take away from that experience and still carry with me. And so I started realizing it's okay to still be connected to that version of Doni. It's okay to bring some of her with me. I don't have to completely transform my identity in order to move forward, because what I did back there, that was still good. Just like when God created everything, and he sat back and he said, that was good. He said,
this is good, but it's not good for me to be alone.
Exactly.
I think he needs a woo, man.
And he started doing, and that's the thing.
He did his big one.
We're a hot mess down here. We're a hot mess, but that doesn't mean that he ever looks at it and says, that's not good anymore. Yeah. He doesn't throw us away. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think, when we go through things, we can't just keep throwing stuff away or disconnecting from the things that have happened to us. I think we have to realize, there are parts of that we need to heal, of course, but there are parts of that we can still take with us, and there's still good things from those experiences.
Love that. Question for you. What advice do you have for all the younger women that are listening in?
Girl, I think the biggest thing that I want everyone, not just young women, but everyone, I want y'all to learn to trust yourself. A lot of the women that I've coached a lot of women over the years. A lot of them do not trust themselves. A lot of them, they walk through life doubting constantly, or just focusing on their insecurities. And for a second, just for a moment every single day, I want you to trust that whatever is on your heart to do, it makes sense. Whatever talents and abilities you have in you,
it makes sense.
It makes sense. It's going to work.
It's an idea that was planted there for a reason.
Exactly. And I think a lot of us are waiting for our moment, or we're waiting for something to make sense, or to all the things to align. But God, this is the thing. Ooh, my God, he's so intentional. He's so intentional. And in every season that you're in, whatever he has called you to do, he's given you exactly what you need in that season in order to do it. It may not look like it. It may not feel like it, because you're thinking you need to do it a certain way. You need to have all these things put together in order for you to do it. Just like you. Baby, you made this happen, okay? You said, you said, I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna pull this together. And as you keep going, you're starting off amazing, but as you keep going, it's really going to blossom, and it's really going to flourish and develop into something beautiful. But I think for me, the biggest thing that has helped me over the years that I want other women to really get, through to them, is just stepping out and being okay with looking like a beginner. Being okay with not being perfect. Literally just do the thing and then develop later. Develop into perfection later. Allow yourself that space. Right now, you're building the skill set. Right now, you're building the muscle. And then later,
it's going to make sense.
It's going to make sense, and you'll be at a space where you can perform at a high level. But you have to get into the motion first.
Yeah. You literally have to not just like, oh, let me get my toes wet. It may be a little cold in there. No, like the entire body, like immerse yourself in the water, like jump in head first.
Because if y'all had seen those videos that I was posting when my business partner found me, cringe.
No, the thing is, I go back and I watch my very first YouTube video, and I'm like, you sound so shy.
Yeah, like, ew.
I'll be like, hey guys, hi. Like, nah, you if you're gonna step out. Be a big stepper.
Period.
That's the energy for 2024. If you're gonna step.
Period.
Question for you. So this is the point of the show where we turn all of the guests into hosts. Okay. So you all are allowed to ask me one question.
Okay.
So what is the question that you have for me?
So on my show, I love to ask this question.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, what makes you feel like a wealthy woman?
Okay. I feel, first things that come to mind, I feel like a wealthy woman whenever I just sit and like embrace all the good things that are going on in life. Like whenever I sit and I'm thinking like, wow, that's crazy that I get to live the life that I do. Like I get to go and experience these different trips and travel, and I get to go to these, for example, like branded events, like restaurants are inviting me, events I'm getting invited to. And it's like, okay, this is really exciting because this is happening at such a frequency that it feels like normal. Like this is now my new normal. Like now it's like, wow, every day is exciting. I feel like a main character in my own movie. I feel like that's like the running slogan of what my life has been. I feel like main character of my own movie. And I think those are the things that make me feel like a wealthy woman. But what I would also say makes me feel like a wealthy woman is when you take the obvious wealth and finance out of the equation and you look at the heart of the person. That's when I'm like, okay, I know that I am blessed with a lot of wealth in terms of one of my nieces, her name, I believe, means you were born at a time of plenty. And you can associate plenty meaning there was a lot of people around. You could associate it with a lot of finances around, but like in the Igbo culture, there's always meaning associated with everyone's name. And just sitting and thinking about like, I'm blessed with a loving family. I'm blessed with like just the things that sometimes we take for granted because we are maybe looking at the material things, or maybe we are kind of focused on the vision board and what we put on it. Whenever I sit back and I think about like, no, I've been blessed with just a lot of like positive people in my life. And sometimes you lose track of that because you're always on go and you're looking for the next. That's what makes me say like, girl, you wealthy.
You are. So, no, I love that. Because that's my biggest thing that I preach is like, being a wealthy woman is about being wealthy holistically. So yeah, I love that. That's a beautiful answer.
Thank you. And now for this segment of the show, we are calling it Pass the Mic. So as far as passing the mic, you get to ask the next guest something. But before we get to that, the previous guest had a question for you.
Oh.
So each of you all have no idea who the next guest is.
Yes.
So y'all just ask like a question that comes to mind that most likely is associated with your brand or who you are or even what your episode is about. And I just feel like this question was actually super spot on for you.
Okay.
The last guest, shout out to Dee, she had asked, how do you still make your mark as a Christian in the spaces in terms of his kingdom, the workplace, and social media?
Ooh, I love that question. So I think, so recently, especially recently, God has been pushing me to talk about my faith more. Just to be more open about it. And I think there were always hints of him and things, or if you took a course, you would hear me preaching on a call, like on a coaching call. But through social media and all of that, I never like really talked about my faith as much. And so recently he's been pushing me to do that more openly and be more bold. But also with Wealthy Woman, all of that is him. That's all him, okay?
Yeah, that's his brand.
Yeah, that's his brand. Those are his ideas. Those are the things that are on his heart to impart onto the women of this generation and this season. And I just try my best to listen to what he has to say. Even with the episodes and the things that I put out, a lot of it, especially if I do a solo episode, you already know God's gonna speak. Just
that's
be
what
prepared.
I was saying. You said you threw that last episode together. You were like, that's not my typical. I was eating it up. I was sweeping my floors like, yeah, let's get into the new year. Like, huh?
Girl,
I was eating it up.
Yeah, you can, and that's what people have been asking me. They're like,
you hit that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They were like, can you just start doing Bible study on your show? And I'm like, what?
Tell me. Tuesdays?
Me, a preacher? No.
No, the thing, we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna chat about it. But yes, continue.
Yeah, but no, I think it's just about being bold. And like the main thing is I always try to make sure that whatever I'm saying and associating with him actually aligns with his word. Yes. And like things that really actually embody God, his essence. Yes. You know? Because you could say a lot of things and it really don't line up with the Lord.
And then it's like, hold on, what kind of spark note was that? Because
where did that come
he
from?
didn't say any of that.
Ever.
Your interpretation was very off.
Yeah, real crazy.
And so you have to now be very mindful of how you interpret his word because his word is truth and how you display it. We're called to be the evangelists on behalf of Christ.
Yes.
And so in that capacity, we are supposed to speak his truth. Absolutely. And if we skew his truth, now it's like a game of telephone.
Oh, yeah.
And now someone who's not going back to the root and just busting open their Bible is thinking, oh, well, I heard on a podcast that God said, da, da, da. And it's like, hold on, pause. Did God say that?
They didn't.
Or did the person you're listening to misinterpret what God said?
Baby, you ate that up.
Let's jump into the next. In the spirit of passing the mic, Doni, what is the question that you have for the next guest?
My question is, what is a habit that you've developed that has helped you the most on your self-development journey? Yes. And I ask that because with being a wealthy woman, it's really about your habits and your discipline. So I can't wait to hear what the answer is.
I'm excited, and you all will have to tune in to the next episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tap in. Follow the last. Stay tuned. Turn your notifications on for the next. It has been a pleasure having you on this show. Thank you so much for coming onto my podcast. It has been an honor. And I'm really glad that there's just really strong takeaways that everyone can get out of this. Takeaways as far as how to reinvent yourself whenever you experience loss. Takeaways as far as making sure that you lay that firm foundation. And if you don't, God will most definitely pull you back until you learn that lesson. But also a takeaway overall of giving yourself grace and not viewing yourself just because you experienced something that was negative, that you were the negative individual.
Yes. Don't abandon yourself in those moments.
So thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Of course. Thank you so much. This was great.
Of course. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning in to The Empowered Era, brought to you by the Elizabethan Era. Bye, loves.